want to get this all out. It's too much for me to go through, or did you know that you wanted to get this whole story out in the clear?
I don't know. I think there's been times where it's felt like a lot, and there's been times where I feel like I can handle it.
Episode number 1, which is funny because normally we're going to be on different coasts.
Yeah.
I live in San Diego on the West Coast. Mikey's here in Boston, and Mikey had this crazy idea.
I think we got to do it. Our whole life, we want to do a radio show together. For some reason, the radio gods or something hasn't happened where we ended up together. And I was like, Frankie, come to Boston. I have an idea. I got the logo made, and I'm ready to have some fun.
For those of you that don't understand radio, we're both in radio. I do a morning show in San Diego. Mikey does an afternoon show here in Boston. Sometimes you don't always get to choose your destiny, per se. So, when he says we were going to do it together, we're here. Things changed the radio. I went back to the West. And it's funny because it doesn't matter with technology these days, especially with what happened last year in 2020. We can be connected miles apart, 3,000 miles apart.
100%.
We talk every single day, and we decided it's time. I know you got to speak to Demi Lovato this week, which when you told me there's like 5 people in America that got to speak to her as the documentary was coming out, it's probably the #1 documentary that's been released on YouTube, I'd say in the past year at least. And you not only found out why she did the documentary, you found out the exact reason why she cut her hair the way she did, which has been, an answer that you got was unheard of pretty much.
Yeah, it's not what I thought she was going to say. And it was just a deep, emotional conversation. At one point, I thought she was going to even cry. And it was really cool to sit down with her.
We're going to get to Demi Lovato in a minute, but before her is a bigger star.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest star that anybody has ever heard of in at least Framingham, Massachusetts.
That's 100% true.
We welcome in our mom, Mommy V. What's up, Mom?
Not much. How are you?
Where are you right now? Looks like you're in a tropical jungle of sorts.
Not quite sure.
Niagara Falls?
Paradise.
But the thing is, our mom teaches preschool, and she uses Zoom. And when she jumped onto it, she goes, I just figured out how to do the backgrounds.
So this is your third background. You've been going on vacation from place to place. And Mom's like, what am I doing on this podcast? What's my role? Your role is to be a storyteller. You're a preschool teacher. You read books all the time to your kids. Now it's time to tell a story.
The funny thing is, I feel like none of the books you've read your kids would be anything that me or Frankie have done. You don't have story time with them. One time, Michael.
Yeah, so what we figured is it's story time with Mommy V. And each week, I think we're going to just ask you to tell a story of one of us growing up, and we figured you could choose. You're a mom. You've lived with us and through us and created us. So we'll turn it over to Mommy V and choose one of us, Mikey or me, Frankie, in regards to who you want to tell a story about.
Well, I guess tonight we'll start with Michael.
Okay.
And Mom calls him Michael, by the way.
Yes.
Everybody knows him on radio and TV as Mikey V. Mom calls him Michael. Tell us a story about Michael.
What did little Michael do? I'm worried. I'm actually worried. There's so many stories that Mom could say about me growing up.
It's true. When this podcast is done, after we get like our 100th episode, we should actually write a book next and have each chapter a chapter of Mike's life. But it's not about us. It's about you, Mommy V. Let's go.
Well, it was many years ago.
Yeah.
And Michael was graduating from college. So we decided that Frankie, his brother, and Mary Ellen, his sister, and her family would come to Framingham for his graduation.
Yep.
And everybody flew in, and it was an exciting time. And Michael decided to throw himself a party in Boston the night before.
A little going away party.
A little going away party, yeah.
Because you were moving to New York right from graduation.
From her radio job.
First radio job, yep, at the New York.
So everybody came in. Mary Ellen, I believe, did not let her husband go. And Frankie and Michael left.
And I'll tell you, I was very excited that I got the invite because I was quite concerned because, being the older brother, I didn't know if Mikey thought it would be cool or not to have his older brother there with him. But Mikey handed me that invite and he said, you know what, I want you to join me and my friends and we're going to go to Boston for the night.
And off you went.
Yes.
So we went to bed. Daddy went to bed, slept in a chair at that time in his life in our family room.
For those of you just getting to know our dad, he had health issues and he wasn't able to get to the bedroom. So he literally was in a little chair.
Almost like a hospital bed in our living room.
In our living room, yeah.
And I went to bed in my room. And I heard the dogs bark during the night, but I figured that was just Michael and Frankie coming home.
Yeah.
So I did not get up. And the next morning, I got up to start to get myself and their dad ready for the graduation.
Right.
And it was about 6 a.m. And I walked out of the bedroom that I had been in and down the hall. And there on my living room floor was Michael, asleep, naked, on his back.
I'm blushing.
With a hot pocket in his hand.
I forgot about the hot pocket in this whole story.
I think he took like 2 bites out of that thing too. Okay, go on.
And a girl with no clothes on,
completely naked,
kneeling over his private part.
Best view Mom's ever had.
Man, is it really the as little as they say? Is that
Don't
much?
answer that,
I
okay?
didn't notice.
Oh, okay.
But I did notice her underpants in one corner of the room.
Okay.
Her shoes in the other.
Yep.
The rest of her clothes strewn around my living room.
Yep.
And her skirt above her neck.
Around her neck.
Around her neck. Yeah, look wonderful. Go on.
First off, I had a brother that went out with me that night, and he allowed me to get into this situation. But go on.
So I went in.
It's 50% Frankie's fault.
I didn't allow this to happen, but as the older brother, the wiser brother, I said, you know what? I'm going to give you a chance to prove that young Michael could.
I just graduated college. I was becoming an adult.
Could handle the situation. So what do you do after that? You see them on the living room
I went
floor.
in the bedroom and I woke Frankie up first.
Woke me up first, yeah.
And I said, Frankie, get up. Your brother is naked on the living room floor.
I remember this.
With a girl kneeling over him. And Frankie said, Mom, I got him home. I finished my job.
That's it. That was my job, right? You're old enough now. You can handle it from here.
And I handled it from there. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we'll ask. Can we get her on the Zoom as well to find out if you actually handled it?
She probably would. Go on.
Yeah.
I went back in the bedroom and I called my sister, Michael's Aunt Nancy.
Yeah.
I said, Nancy, Michael is naked on the living room floor with a girl kneeling over his private parts.
Yeah.
She got excited naturally.
You need to tell Uncle Charlie to come over here right now and yell at him. And my sister said, Carol, I can't do that. Michael will be embarrassed. And I said, he won't be.
Yeah.
Tell him to come. She said, sorry, you have to handle it yourself. So then I went into the room where my husband was and I said, Michael's naked on the living room floor. And he said, Carol, I had the time of my life listening to them. So I did whatever I can't remember and went in and woke Michael up. And I said, Michael, wake up. And he looked around and smacked his lips a little and said, I said, Mike, you're naked on the living room floor. And there's a girl here with you. And he said, Mom, what did you want us to do? All the bedrooms were taken. Did you want us to do this in the front lawn?
Yeah. See, smart man. Outside, I could get arrested. I could have been in jail for this, and I did it in the living room.
And he let me go to bed in the bed without waking me up.
And best of all, I entertained Dad.
Yeah, I did. Dad is best.
Best night of his life.
So I woke the girl up, and I said, excuse me, you are naked on my living room floor with your skirt around your neck. And, when I bought this skirt, I worried it would rise. I said, it rose.
Yeah. All the way up.
Well, honey, it rose.
Yeah. So then Michael said, go into my mother's room. Let me calm her down.
Yeah.
So she went into my bedroom and Michael said, Mom, do you want to take your clothes off and join us? And I was not finding the humor in it.
Yeah.
But he always had a knack of calming me down.
Yeah.
So I went into the bedroom and the girl was sitting there with a blanket around her and she's crying. And I said, do you want me to call your mother right now? And I said, you're going to have to come out naked into my kitchen now and eat pancakes for breakfast. And as I was saying that, Michael came in the bedroom and hopped in bed with her, reiterated, Mom, just take your clothes off and join us. But at that point, he got me laughing and I wasn't even mad anymore. Shocked. Oh, the one last thing.
By the way, that dinging his mom because she doesn't have to shut off the text messages from her.
We try to teach Mom how to turn off the sound of the computer.
I don't know how that.
Episode 2, we'll get that figured out. Keep going with the story though.
Yeah. So you get to the kitchen, you have breakfast.
No, so I go back in the living room and there was blood on the living room floor.
There's so many parts of this story that I forget about.
Yeah, go on.
Because I was still
drunk.
And
I thought, oh my goodness, if this poor girl
that time of the month.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
So I said, Michael, there's blood on the living room rug. It's a brand new rug. You need to go in there and clean it.
Yeah.
And when she went in to help him, we saw that there were rug burns on her knees.
Yeah. I mean,
that happens.
She put in work. You know, that was a night for my son.
So the best part of the story, though, then from there moving forward, Mom becomes. I move away to New York the next day, and I moved away from New York, Indianapolis, Detroit. I hadn't come home for years. Mom and this girl became like best friends. So like she would like post on Facebook. Back then, Facebook was like the go-to.
Yeah.
Going into Boston tonight, and Mom would comment, "See you on the living room floor later on."
And it was funny because living in California, I would see pictures on Facebook of Mom and this girl on Facebook, and I'm like, "Oh, Mikey come home with her?" And no, she just stopped by to say hi by herself. Sorry, you can say her name. I'm sure she'll.
It's fine.
She's got a lot of OnlyFans now, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well played, but yeah, you became almost more friendly with her than I did. What a great way to meet somebody.
Mike, round of applause to Mikey V.
I bring people together.
That's what it is. Well, that's a great story. That is story time with Mommy V. In regards to Michael back in his graduation party.
I'm scared to the other stories that Mom's going to make me relive in this podcast.
As you're saying the story, Mom, I'm thinking about what else has Mikey done that would make for a great time on the V-Bros Worldwide podcast.
I think you have a whole book. I handed you the
playbook. We'll get to another story next week. Mom, you know who Demi Lovato is, right? She has her documentary that dropped last week, and they did like 5 interviews, I think it was, across the country. That's all they did for her because she was busy with the documentary. And somehow Michael, the one that was on your living room floor, naked with a girl in her dress around her head, was one of the 5 people chosen to talk to Demi Lovato inside the V-Spot.
And it's a really cool conversation. We got really deep, talked about her documentary. We talked really deeply about her overdose. It's kind of crazy. She had a heart attack. She had 2 strokes.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I wanted to ask her, because everybody knows she got a new hairdo.
Right.
So I asked her, what inspired the new haircut?
What inspired my new hair? Years and years of gender and sexuality norms placed on me. I was like, literally, like, I'm over it, and I'm
cutting it all off.
Yeah, I'm living my life for me.
I love that. And talk about living your life for you. You really have opened up in both the music and the documentary. You're saying things that maybe you never thought you'd ever say, and really opening up. What was your biggest fear in both the music and the documentary being this open?
I think my biggest fear was, I am so open, and I never want anyone to feel triggered by the things that I talk about. And so I think there was a fear of people getting triggered, but I also think there was a fear of how people would respond to me talking about the place that I'm in today. I feel like for so long I've been kind of the poster child of recovery for a lot of people. And I'm doing away with that by saying I want to take my identity back as a person and not my story.
Yeah.
So I think, I think some people might have an opinion about that. And I think that was like the most nervous that I was regarding the documentary and album, but I'm happy and I'm living my truth. And no matter what other people have to say, it's like, if I feel good about it, that's all that matters.
And that's the best feeling. Even you can see whatever you see on social media, see all this stuff, but if you feel good about it and you feel content about it, then you feel good about it. And it is crazy because I've obviously watched a documentary, and some of the stuff that I didn't even know, I'm sure people know, from the 2 strokes and the heart attack and all that. But what was your reason, or why did you want to put out that documentary? Why did you want to almost relive all that again? That's a big feat to go through. It's hard enough not doing those things.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it so that I didn't have to carry it anymore. I've been carrying it for 3 years, and or at least what happened in 2018. Some of that story that I tell in the documentary, I had been carrying for years prior to that. And I just wanted to not keep anything bottled in inside. And I just wanted to, show the world like, hey, this is me and my story. And you don't have to like it, but
this is it. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
And the most amazing thing about it was everybody involved. I mean, you kept saying, tell the truth, be honest, get it all out. I mean, even at one point you told Danny to, clear your name. Why was it also so important to you that everybody just got it all out? Was that to help you just be like, here it all is?
Yeah, I think, this story couldn't have been told giving a half truth or even leaving certain parts of the story out. Just wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have made sense to everyone. I had to talk about some of the things that I had gone through when I was younger to explain why that night in 2018 was so traumatic for me and why it's taken a long time to heal since then.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything in the doc has its purpose.
That's awesome. And one thing is, like, we all have somebody in our life that's going through something. Maybe it's not as extreme as everything you've been through, but even your mom said, and you said how it is so hard and other people are telling you, you need this or you need that. But I think something that'd be amazing to hear is if somebody was the friend of somebody going through something, what is the best way, do you think, for that friend to help out?
I think listening is the best thing that you can do for someone. When you notice that someone is struggling and you listen to them, if you're listening to what their needs or wants are, how you can support them, or just giving them an ear to talk to, I think the thing that I missed the most was, for years was I couldn't really identify what my wants and needs were because I didn't feel comfortable sharing them with anyone. Now that I feel comfortable sharing them with people, like, I'm able to speak up for what I need and how people can best support me. So I think it comes down to like identifying how people can best support, or it comes down to like listening to the person, but then identifying how you can best support them.
And the struggle is that people in those times, instead of listening like you're asking for, they kind of are telling, and that kind of gets the reverse reaction, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then what's something that you do now that helps you kind of cope? Are you like a journaler or a meditator? Or is there anything that you would tell somebody who's struggling that, like, this is what I do and this kind of helps me right now?
Yeah, I love meditating. Meditating is something that keeps me grounded and centered. I try to meditate as much as possible. So every day if I can. And the amount of time that I meditate for varies. So sometimes it's only 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes it's longer. So it varies depending on what I need.
And that's awesome. I love that you found that way to help you out. And then moving forward, now getting to the music and all that, but it was very important to you to work with Scooter. Why was that so important to you?
He's the best. He's the best in the business. Like, there's name a better manager. I can't.
There really isn't. But was there a reason? Obviously, he's wildly successful. But is there any other attributes like about him that you were like, if I'm gonna do this again, I'm gonna go through all this, like, Scooter's a guy I need on my side?
Well, I set up a meeting with him, and we talked about working together, what it would entail, what it looked like. And he didn't, he, for someone as successful as he is, he didn't come across as intimidating at all. If anything, he came off as super genuine, super supportive, just wanting to help. And so working with him was kind of a no-brainer because of how comfortable I felt around him. And I knew that's what I wanted in a manager, not just someone that is super successful, but also someone that looks at me like a human.
Yeah. And I feel that kind of ties back to what you were saying earlier, but he's somebody that probably doesn't tell you how to do things, but listens to how you feel and how you want to do things.
Right. Definitely.
And what was it like? I mean, quarantine is so crazy for everybody as it is, but what was it like making this album, or the majority of it, during quarantine?
It was definitely, it was interesting when COVID was, when COVID first hit, the album took a hiatus pretty much. Didn't work for a minute. And then when things started to kind of open back up to a certain degree, the studios in LA started opening back up, and I worked out of some studios for a minute, but then I got this new house and I built a studio. So it's been really cool to have my workplace just in my backyard.
There we go. And again, we've been talking about how you open up, but Dancing with the Devil, I mean, it connects so strongly, the documentary, with the glass of wine and all that. And talk about the process of writing that song, and it has to be both extremely emotional, but also almost like therapy for yourself, and it must help you kind of also, once again, get this off your chest.
Yeah, it's definitely therapeutic and cathartic. You know, anytime I'm talking about my story, it helps. Mm-hmm. So the video was really helpful too.
Was there ever a moment that you were like, I can't do this, I don't want to get this all out, it's too much for me to go through, or did you know that you wanted to get this whole story out in the clear?
I don't know. I think there's been times where it's felt like a lot, and there's been times where I feel like I can handle it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's so many great collabs on the album too, but talk about working with Ariana Grande and how that was, and what made you want to, make sure that she was on this project with you.
So she actually wrote this song for me, and when I heard it, I was like, you have to stay on the track, people would love to hear us sing together, and we've been wanting to sing together for a while. So it just fell into place and it happened.
So she basically wrote it, so then she probably sings over it and shows you how the song came out, and then you were just like, no brainer, we're working together on this.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was that like probably one of your favorite collabs you've had, or like what is your, was that one of your favorite collabs that you've had?
Yeah, definitely. I think all the collabs on this album I'm really excited about, but obviously we've wanted to sing together for years, so it was well worth the wait.
That's amazing. Talk about collabs. Another dope one you have on there is Sweetie. Talk about how that came about, and what made you want to have her be a part of your album.
So this song, Girlfriends Are My Boyfriend, that song is, I remember I wanted a feature on it, and she obviously came to mind. And so when we sent it to her, she literally said, wow, this is really on brand for me. So that's pretty funny. And yeah, she killed it. And I'm excited to perform it with her. And yeah.
And it's funny because you said like it really connected for her, but I think that connects for a lot of girls. Like that is really a strong connection for a lot of people. And that's why it's such an amazing song.
Thank you. Thanks.
And you're saying you're excited to perform it with her. What is your vision? When do you think you'll be able to tour again? Or when do you think the world will be at a spot where like a concert's not like, oh my God, there's thousands of people in one room? What is your vision of that?
I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine.
I think all our guesses are kind of lost in that. And then another cool thing that you have going on is your podcast you're going to plan on starting. One, what made you want to start a podcast? And two, when can we start hearing it?
My podcast hasn't started filming yet. So I don't know when you can hear it, but it's coming soon. And I'm really excited. I think that we're still fleshing out a lot of stuff in pre-production. So I'll let you know when I have more info.
We love that. Will it be as open? Will it kind of like attach the music in the documentary and kind of bring in another level even, or is it going to be more like lighthearted and like fun?
I don't know. We have to wait and see. We're still fleshing out all the details in pre-production.
Awesome. Cool. Well, you have a TikTok performance coming up pretty soon, which is pretty cool. We're only days away from that. How different is it and how cool is it to perform on something like TikTok compared to in a sold out stadium?
Well, the audience might appear smaller, but it's actually bigger because when
more viewers.
You get more viewers. So it's an interesting dynamic. You don't think you're performing to that many people, but you really are. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. I'm just excited to be able to play new songs for fans.
That's awesome. And last but not least, you have so many tattoos, amazing ones. Do you have a favorite tattoo?
I think my favorite would probably be my great grandmother on my arm.
And how long ago did you get that?
I was 26, so 2 years ago.
Nice. Well, thank you again for the time. We appreciate it. congrats on success. A big thank you from everybody in the world that gets to kind of see everything you're doing, and the amount of people that you're going to help is undeniably a huge number. So thank you again for all you're doing. And we'll talk soon.
You so much. You too. Bye.
And there it is, Mikey V and Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
In the V spot. You know, it's really cool. We learned a few things during that. And here's why I'm so glad you got to do that interview. You learned about the haircut, because everybody's been asking about the haircut. And I mean,
I thought it was just a new look she wanted, but it was a deeper meaning, which is pretty cool.
And that documentary, which is huge on YouTube right now. I mean, I was surprised at first she did it. I was really excited that she did it, because I feel like she's such a powerful female. I interviewed her years ago, and I remember that you knew she was going through stuff. Yeah. And I'm glad she's letting it out there now. And she said that she did the documentary because
she wanted to get it off her chest. It was almost like therapy for her. It's almost like getting through it on. And actually, next month is Mental Health Month, so it's really cool for a lot of people to see that. She talks about how in that, but you can help out a friend. So it was cool. But the funniest thing is, as we're watching that, Mom goes, "Is it supposed to be worldwide or worldwide?"
How did you notice that? Mom, if you're just tuning in, by the way, Mom is a preschool teacher.
Yeah.
So she's very keen on spelling and whatnot. And how did you even notice that?
I just did. I don't know.
The dinging is still happening. Mom, you're going to get fired your first day here.
I was worried that Michael did it because he doesn't spell really well.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
But what am I good at, though? Besides being naked in the living room floor?
Yeah, give us one good thing that Mike's good at.
Making people happy.
Making people happy.
I was going to say math, but that too.
That's true. And
math, excellent.
Decent. Give him decent. But you know what? Speed about making people happy. We're going to post a photo up. You're going to see it in front of you. And we want you to describe as our mom exactly this photo. It was taken years ago. Again, we're 8.5 years apart in age. So you'll see it in this photo. You might not see it right here. You'll see it in this photo. And Mom, as our mother, would like for you to describe this photo right here.
And we have to pick this picture. I mean, there's so much. If you're listening to this and not watching this, this is like a terrible picture of me.
I look like a supermodel. I look great. Nice chin line. You know, this is back in my college football playing
You have a nice chin line. I have 4 chins. Every chin has a nice chin line, I think.
As our mom, start with me. Explain to everybody listening how amazing I look.
Amazing.
Describe the facial structure, the nice eyebrows. Tell everybody.
Everything about it was just perfect. And so is Michael's picture, too. Doesn't he look so happy? Like he's just so proud to be there.
Because I just ate 13 cakes and a piece of pizza.
No.
Can we talk about the teeth? What's going on with those teeth? It looks like he's got chiclets in his mouth. He's missing a couple.
Well, he always was. He was born without permanent teeth.
Got it. That explains that.
So those are his baby teeth.
And then real quick, and then typical our dad who has passed, but our dad had a guy for everything.
Yeah.
Like I could get a speeding ticket, my guy got it. I can get in trouble, my guy got it. Oh, you need teeth? I got a guy. I went to a guy to get. I have veneers now, and it was my dad's guy, and he was like, it's gonna be like 10 grand, but if you give me $2,000 in a white envelope, give it to the nurse, then you're all set. I was like, okay, and I got a bill. I remember like 6 months later for $8,000 after I already gave this guy cash. I thought he beat me. He's like, don't worry about that. I won't tell anybody. You don't tell anybody. We're good. I'm like, well, my teeth haven't fallen out yet, so that's a plus.
So yeah, and the eyebrow right here. I'm looking.
But I love that picture of Michael. It's hard to see Frankie because it's a glare, but I love that picture of Michael. He just looks just like he felt about life. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, what were you like as brothers growing up?
Yeah. How were we? Tell everybody.
You were typical. I mean, Michael, you aggravated.
Ding, ding. Mom, one more ding and we're done.
I don't know how to do it. Michael would aggravate Frankie, but you were always there for each other. Frankie, you'd be playing basketball on the court and you fell once.
Yeah.
And I was so worried that you got hurt. And I'm like, Mike, go down on that court and find out what's wrong with him. And off you went. You no inhibitions. You were just so glad to be a part of the family, to always check. You did anything. Frankie and Mary Ellen would go out at night on a rainy night, and Michael would yell at me, I can't believe you let the kids go out on this night.
Mary Ellen went out?
Mary Ellen, our sister, Mary.
And then, well, yes. And then he grew up. I just think you were typical. There was no jealousy between the two of you. You were enough years apart that Michael just adored you, and you were just great to him.
Then times changed. Michael was seen on the living room floor naked with a girl, and that is episode number 1 of V-Bros Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Mikey, of
worldwide,
course.
no D.
Or worldwide. Worldwide. Mikey in Boston. I'm normally in California. I'm here. Mom is, I'm not quite sure where she is right now. Niagara Falls or some glamorous place.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Episode number 1 next week. We'll get another celebrity on with us.
Yep.
And Mom, you going to be ready to tell another story next week?
Yep.
I'm worried. I feel like all the stories going to be about me. It's not really fair, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. V-Bros Worldwide, episode number 1. Mom, thank you for hanging with us. And thank you guys for watching and for listening in. We appreciate it.